safe, share the love, embracing the differences like hand in glove. Spread the peace and joy, it's a beautiful sight. Together we shine, in each other's light. How do we stand, in love's pure mind. Watching the world, in love and light. Hearts beating as one, in our peaceful flight. Colors of harmony, leading the night. How we stand, in love's pure mind.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Watching the World. We have so many people already here, up and at it. It's so good to be alive. We have Eric in the building, Bordeaux. Thank you guys for tuning in. Sharon, thank you. We also have Deborah. She likes when we say her name. AI Med Spa, always on it and at it. So I just want to let you guys know what's happening. I'm here in New York City waiting to see what's going to happen today. Yesterday, I was in court assisting one of my family members, and I went to check my phone for a brief moment. And guess what? Eric Nickerson and also Deborah, they both had hit me up to say, listen, New York is really raging rampant. They sent me the articles because of what happened yesterday on Canal Street. Did you see what's happening? Let me give you a little history to this. In New York City, well, first I'll say, how many of you have went to purchase maybe a Louis Vuitton bag, a Gucci bag for a loved one, right? What does that normally cost you? Sometimes $3,000 upwards to $7,000 you could pay easily to buy these bags. Well, in New York City, oftentimes when I do the tours, I show you where there's vendors actually selling knockoff bags on the ground. And you can buy those bags that mimic the real thing, and often you'll pay roughly $65. People buy those bags like crazy. You can buy the hats, you can buy the belts. They're called knockoffs. Well, about a month ago, I showed you where we had these individuals in the street. Usually, they appear to be African guys that are at least selling. But I do know in the background, they'll lead you to a warehouse, and in the warehouse, there's so many knockoff bags, but usually there's a connection to China. So what happens is the main stores like Louis Vuitton that sells their bags for $3,000, ultimately they take a hit because people are able to buy Louis Vuitton bags, right? They won't last long. I think about 6 months or so, they start to fall apart. You can look at them and tell they're knockoffs, but to the average person, you really can't make that determination, right? So they bum rush the African, at least the street vendors, about a month ago. Well, yesterday, thanks to Eric and also Deborah, they let me know, listen, they're doing it on a magnificent scale. The articles broke, the stories broke, and they went down to Canal Street. Well, for those of you who are familiar with New York, you know that Canal Street is primarily Chinese or what have you. We call that Chinatown. You can pretty much buy. I never forget, I moved to New York about 28 years ago, and I didn't know any better. I was young. The guy says, hey, you want to buy a Rolex? It's only $100. And stupid me, I paid $100 for the watch. It started to turn color probably within a week's time, silly me. But anyway, that's the part of life. You live and you learn. So at any rate, that's what's happening. But we also have something else happening in the background. You have ICE also. So they're hitting Canal Street. They're dealing with the vendors. Actually, when I went live maybe about 3 weeks ago, I showed you where the federal agents were in Times Square, and you saw them going through the pockets of guys and asking them for their license. Because you have people out there, they're also painting. You have people selling. This is how New Yorkers kind of make their money, right? They say if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, right? So you have Canal Street, they're dealing with the licensing and all of that issue, but also they're dealing with ICE, and people are being thrown to the ground. And then behind that, you have New Yorkers that are fed up. Remember last week I covered the No Kings, and there were thousands of people strolling through the street to express themselves and how upset they are with Donald Trump. A lot of people do not like Trump. And then sometimes as I stood there on the rock, remember I stood on the rock so I could get a great view for you guys. A lot of people were saying Donald Trump is synonymous with Putin and Netanyahu. Some of them were calling them the three criminals, right? This is what the New Yorkers at least felt. But we also find that throughout the entire United States, we had over 7 million people involved in the No King. So today, usually I do the hot topics at noon. I will not be doing the hot topics at noon. I'll be in the streets, boots on the ground in New York, if we find that they are going to come back today, which I imagine they will. Let me tell you why. We currently have Eric, and I'm going to get to the comments, guys. Thank you so much. I'm definitely going to get to the comments. For inner city New York, you have Eric Adams, who is currently the mayor on his way out. But remember, they brought charges against him, and Donald Trump pardoned him. But as a part of that, or commuted pardon, whatever the deal was, but as a part of that, right, they put the screws to him. In other words, you have to do what we say, or you're going to get back on this journey of being potentially locked up, right? So it's quite interesting that they're really hitting the streets of New York hard. And then you have the New Yorkers actually fighting back. You see people falling in the street. We're going to really get to it. In fact, let me give you the history on it. Let's check out what's happening so you guys get a full understanding.
A minute, but we're going to begin with some breaking news that we have been following this afternoon. Federal agents started a crackdown.
And guys, thank Eric and Deborah for being on the case yesterday.
On illegal vendors in Chinatown.
And the raid by the federal agents and the vendors who are regularly on the streets of New York, leading to a rather tense situation. Eyewitness News reporter Lucy Yang at this disturbing scene in Chinatown for us. Lucy.
Well, Bill and Liz, it was a very heated situation here in China.
And by the way, guys, I'll be in these streets today. We're going to see what's happening. Obviously have to be cautious.
Town this afternoon as federal agents swooped in, as crowds got involved and as tempers flared. We were in the thick of the scrum as law enforcement tried to engage in what they are calling an ongoing.
Now notice, this is not Antifa. These are regular. You see the lady here? She has on her garb. Look like she worked. This is the financial district, right? They're just coming out, maybe on their break. It was after 5 o'clock when this kicked off, basically, and they're fighting for the local people.
Federal investigation. We're told agents are part of a joint immigration and customs.
Now, I just want to tell you, if you look at most of the guys that I find, because when I covered Sean Diddy Combs' case, right, ICE was out there because we would have these protests. And I'm not trying to get too deep into this, but I will tell you that most of the guys who were actually the ICE agents are Hispanic, and they're actually arresting the Hispanic guys, the illegal immigrants. A lot of times they have their face covered, but through all the scuffling, you get a chance to ascertain what they truly look like.
Customs enforcement crackdown. Vendors tell me they were asked for passports or proof of residency today. Normally, Canal Street is full of street vendors selling all sorts of fake designer goods, but it looks like today was not about the merchandise, but about the people operating those street sales. The situation quickly got heated when bystanders joined in and started pushing.
So if you look at America at large, you're starting to see in most of these large cities, there's chaos everywhere. Like, what's really going on? Let me get to a few of the comments. I don't want to get too far away. I just want to be brief because I have to do some traveling here, but I want to make sure I get to people. Oh, Tesla's earnings. I'll have to check it out. Tell us, where is Tesla? I think the last time I looked at it was 443. I got in around $90. In fact, I was telling everybody, buy it, buy it, buy it. But when the market is down, it's hard to motivate people to buy because they feel like the sky is falling. Okay. Deborah says, say my name, Mel. All right. I said it, Deborah. All right. K Boogie says, Rich Rising. Okay. Rich Rising to you too. Kurt says, why monkeys not in zoo? All right. Look at what we have here. All right. Eleanor says, did and racists calling black monkeys realize they were the first hairy monkeys from the caves? Okay. Well, if you want to get into that, I don't want to get into that, but guys, I'm into the Bible and also science. If you really go back, they say that all stem from the African. So in some way, we're all cousins at the end of the day, but we're so far removed, we call each other names, right? Eric says, double tap on the screen, like and share, and thank you. Maybe one day we'll get into that deeper, but today we want to stay focused. AI Mesbah says it's icy out in Mamdani City. Well, let's see if he wins. You think he'll win? I don't know. It looks like Cuomo has a good chance here. Brian Warner says, because Antifa doesn't exist like these people think it does. I'm Antifa. My mother is, my brother is, all my friends are. We are everywhere in stores, working at McDonald's, car dealerships. Okay, thank you for that insight. Okay, Hall says people won't follow the law, criminal, not chaos.
Back on the officers, there was shoving, there was cursing. I saw a woman banging on an official car, then thrown to the ground and taken into custody. Our Newscopter 7 was above, tracking the situation as we spoke with one woman who joined the crowd.
Everybody has a right to live here. This is not right. There's people coming over from other countries because they're fighting wars. It's not fair.
Okay, she appeared to be an Amazon worker, right? Just a normal person giving her input.
Now, to give you a sense of how intense it got, my photographer was shoved while in the crowd, and then a woman started verbally assaulting me.
So just so you know, most of the anchors, they have photographers, they have producers, they're on site. So even they're getting pushed around.
And she would not leave us alone. In any case, Canal Street is calm right now. The sidewalks empty of any street vendors after today's chaotic arrests. We are waiting to learn how many were taken into custody. The NYPD has tweeted they had no part in today's investigation. And just a few minutes ago, the mayor's office sent this response, quote, Mayor Adams has been clear that undocumented New Yorkers trying to pursue the American dream should not be the target of law enforcement, and resources should.
And I just want to say, in harmony with the comment just made about Antifa is not real, that is not true. I'm out here in these streets and I've rubbed shoulders with Antifa. They are very much real, and I'll keep it at that. But do not fool yourself. Every time, every protest, I start to see them now, and I start to understand more and more about it, right? So we have to, be realistic here. All right, so let's check out another broadcast in regards to what happened yesterday.
That normally line the sidewalks.
Every time I get off the train, it's flooded with people selling bags, vendors. Today, nobody. I didn't even realize what was going on.
Cell phone video shows tempers brewing as federal agents arrested street vendors. Their merchandise still on display.
A lot of officers came in and started questioning people and arresting some.
Surveillance cameras captured agents on the sidewalk. Witnesses tell us vendors were plucked.
Yes, Deborah, I will be very cautious. Hall says, no, they don't have the right. You can't go to Russia, can't go to most other countries. Okay, Deborah says, Mel, please don't get into a situation. All right, keys of life, definitely. I will follow your admonition, Deborah, thank you. Keys of life says, wow. Malik says, I wonder how pro-immigration persons would agree to the removal of illegal immigrants to be decent, Elections have consequences, so why is it wrong? Okay, Hall says change the laws. Okay, JDP says hi, beautiful. Thank you to someone. Okay, like, share, and subscribe, and turn on your notifications to be notified. Okay, very good. Thank you, Eric, for the super chat. Thank you for supporting the channel and all you do. Okay, very good. So we're going to just hit a few more points and close out. Today is going to be very busy. So if we don't have the noon show, if something pops off, you know the reason why.
From multiple locations along Canal Street, including Lafayette, Broadway, and
Thank you, Sharon. I definitely will be safe.
Church Street.
They've been grabbing people that have been coming here trying to support their family.
Director of Street Vendor Project, Mohammed Atiyah, says vendors already face enforcement from several city agencies. He says it's difficult for them to get licenses, making them more vulnerable. Atiyah called today's federal enforcement shameful.
It's really horrifying that this is happening in New York City, a city of immigrants.
Now, guys, I'll tell you, with my financial background, I know for a fact of a street vendor that sells food in the carts. He made over $1 million in 1 year. And that's what they say the average is for the guys out there selling peanuts. So that gives you an idea of, with all the high traffic people moving around in the city, these individuals make a lot of money, right? They're trying to feed their families, but to get the license is very hard. And that's what they're saying here. And that's why you find people trying to get in where they fit in to try to sell something.
Who works nearby says he understands people need to make a living, but says there are too many vendors.
Sometimes there'll be so many of them and so much stuff on the sidewalk that it's hard to live around here, hard to work around here.
The Street Vendor Project says they will be doing outreach, making sure vendors understand their rights.
I could show you guys a deal I did in New York City. It was a condo. The lady had 900 square feet. Do you understand what that means? 900 square feet was her entire condo, right? She paid over $800,000 just for that little space in the city. So imagine what it takes, even when you're renting, how much it takes to survive. So people are trying to survive, but this is crackdown. It's definitely going to have a big influence. AI Metzbot says they are operating without the zoning and form permits. Every day, AI always drops in those additional key facts. We appreciate you very much. And it says, that's tiny. Yes, indeed. That's one floor in my house. Like, that's even a fraction of one floor. And the money, and listen, let me tell you guys, I don't want to babble too much, but I want to tell you this. When you guys see me get on the train, sometimes I drive, right? I like to get on the train because I can cut videos. I have a very busy life. I can do a lot. It takes me an hour and a half, and I live out what you guys would probably imagine to be like the country setting, right? From Virginia, where I'm originally from, very similar. Hour and a half, I can be in the city. Now, you can also, from Penn Station or Grand Central in the city, let's say you work there in the city, you can take for an hour and a half, you can go out to Long Island, Staten Island, you can go to all of these particular places, right? So that's what a lot of people do. They work there and commute out because in the city, it is so expensive just to survive, right? You pay for the comfort of not having to take that 1.5 hour trip. Either way, a lot of people go into Connecticut. Sometimes when I'm on the train, I talk to executives who catch the train. They've been doing it for over 30 years. And they do this every day. Some people, some of my clients actually drive to the city every day. Can you imagine that? And some of these guys often are working hard, installing sheetrock and all of these, and then they have to drive back and deal with the traffic. So it's not an easy thing. I would imagine in Chicago, any of the large cities, you have the same situation. Deborah says, our home is 1,100 square feet. Okay, so imagine a smaller unit and you're paying close to $1 million. Okay. Now I will tell you, even in like in the Beacon area, Cold Spring, they're starting to put up these large luxury apartment units, right by the train station. They're also building condominium units right by the train station. And some of these units are 1,200 to 1,500 square feet. And these people in my area are paying more than $900,000 for these 2-bedroom small units just to be by the train so they can get into the city. A lot of them are doctors, lawyers, but yes, so you can, the same time that you would travel to Long Island, you can travel upstate and have a much economical way of living, okay? Brandon says, how many years ago did you purchase your condo? Okay. I do not have a condo, so I have a house, and I've been here for 20 years. All right, so let's see here. JDP says, like, share, and subscribe, and turn on your notifications to be notified for upcoming shows. Okay, and like today, like I say today, we're waiting to see what ICE is doing, and if something happens, we'll be definitely on it. Okay. Deborah says she hears the places are quaint here. Yes, indeed. Eric says New Rochelle is a very nice area. Yes, indeed. It's a nice place. Very expensive. The taxes in New Rochelle are through the roof. So that's another issue here, even where I live at in New York. Imagine now, a lot of places that I go, especially like in the South, people pay for their rent $1,000 a month, right? $1,200, $1,500. So imagine here in New York, we're paying $20,000 a year just for taxes on your property. So just that's not including the mortgage, tax, and insurance. We're paying just, or the mortgage and insurance is just the taxes, right? $20,000 a year. It's insane. And that includes property and school taxes. That's New York for sure. New Jersey is a little bit different, but still quite expensive. I think Connecticut is a little bit better when it comes to those expenses. So at any rate, let's get back to the video. And
on Canal Street, Alicia Reed, CBS News, New York. Stay with us for continuing coverage on the federal raid on.
Okay, so we have one more, and check this out. You'll get to see how the people are actually fighting back and getting involved. I've actually been in the city, like I said, when it happened with the predominantly African guys, when they saw the agents coming. Actually, if you guys can go back to my live when I was in Times Square, when the guys actually saw the federal agents roll in, they're very organized. They start running. They have their suitcases. They grab what they can, and they'll run you right over. So this is this depicts really what actually I showed in the video on one of my tours. Folks, this is not Antifa. These are regular New Yorkers. A lot of people, especially when it comes to MAGA or the right or what have you, not that it really matters, but they paint the picture that these people are paid and all of this. Pay attention to the audience. And this was out of the blue, not organized. These are just people seeing something and saying something. So they're saying ICE out now, get them out of here. Did you guys see, I think it was out in LA where they tried to arrest a guy near the freeway. So, or what have you, ICE was really on him. He was fighting back, real strong guy, appeared to be of Mexican descent. Not that it makes a big difference, but at any rate, the neighbors start coming out into the street. They started kicking and the handcuffs, and they actually got into their vehicle and left because the neighbors were on their rear end. There's something to think about, folks. The American people are fighting back. In fact, I think when we have midterm elections, I think you're going to see a big difference at the polls. I think a lot of people are fighting back. Now, whether power exchanges, that's another conversation, folks. Joy says, send in the troops. We must have law and order. That's very important. Law and order is how we can exist here in this country and get basically from one place to the next, right? Blue Crab says, Trump is the worst thing that has ever happened to the USA. You couldn't tell him that or any of his voters for sure. Okay. Blue Crab says, ICE out now. They are thugs. Trump has to go. Okay. Wow. Off Grid says, yep. That's just New York City people. Yes, this is everyday people, right? Remember that song? I'm just everyday people. Okay, very good. AI Metzbot says, I voted for this. More ICE. He wants more ICE. Okay, Brandon says, and ICE is currently hiring more of these individuals. Okay, yes. Mr. Max says, disgraceful. Guys, please hit the like button, share, and subscribe, especially out in the street. It's no easy task. I think the other day I told you guys when I was able to stand on the rock. I think it was about 3 feet tall, right? Had to climb up on it. And there was a lady standing beside me, and people kept trying to come and get on the rock. And there's probably a rock every quarter of a mile on 7th Avenue throughout the city. Well, this guy was trying to get on the rock, and he was rickety, right? He hit the lady standing beside me. She fell head first to the ground. She was already, I would say, 60s or 70s. She took a hard hit out there. He fell off, hit the ground, and he took off because he did not want to have that conversation about lawsuits or you're going to pay for my medical and all that. So it's crazy out here. There's also conversations. People are saying that Donald Trump wants to use more force when it comes to the activity in the street with the protesters, right? So we might see that develop as well. But it's a very serious matter. In fact, when I was out there in the street, I said, with all these signs, and this is basically Donald Trump's, I mean, literally where they're having the protests, right? You can actually pretty much look up and see Trump towers from a distance. But basically, all of these people are fighting back against you in your front yard or your backyard, whichever way you want to see it. He's not going to like it, folks. And we saw the aftermath.
ICE out now! ICE out now! ICE out now! ICE out
And one of the things that I notice when I'm out here in these streets is that it's primarily women that are really leading the cause. Remember when Donald Trump was taking on these lawsuits? Any way you want to slice it, it's the women that really were coming after him. Letitia James, right? Fannie Willis, right? We see the ladies out here in the street. And now we have Jasmine Crockett. She's leading the cause. We don't know what some of the other guys are doing, but the ladies are really standing up and fighting hard. You see there, lady fighting back, right?
And ruining people's lives. Does that feel good? Does that feel really good to you? I bet your mom and your dad are so proud of you. You should be disgusted with yourself.
You guys are fucked up.
Fucking disgusting Nazis!
Fuck you.
Shame! Shame!
Fuck you. Oh my god, it's
Fuck you, you fucking mother bitch! Fuck you, piece of shit! You fucking racist, race-hating bootlicker! Motherfucker! Show your fucking face, show your fucking face!
You see the ladies really grabbing the bull by the horn, right? Quite impressive, I must say. They're not holding back. All right. Brandon says, I'm in Hagertown, Maryland, and rent here for a 2-bedroom, 900 square foot apartment for $1,300 a month. Okay, I can tell you in my county here, it's about $2,200. So a big difference. That $1,000 a month difference on average goes a long way, folks. Mr. Mack says disgraceful. Okay, Brandon says, and ICE is currently hiring more of these individuals. Okay. All right, let's see. Vanessa says Hitler also militarized Germany. Okay, we know the outcome of that. A lot of people, and let me just, I don't want to get too sketchy here, but a lot of people are starting to push back on the Jews, and you'll hear them at the protests actually saying that Hitler may have been doing this for a cause. Let me explain. In the case of, what's his name? Luigi Mangione, the guy down in the city that unalived the CEO of United Healthcare. When you go to his trial, I went to a hearing. Most of the people that are really leading the way, staying overnight, wanting to get into the courtroom just to see him, as I showed you the lines and the lines we had for Diddy's case, very similar, right? A lot of the individuals are 15, 16, 17-year-old girls that are just can't wait to see him. And I asked them, why on earth do you support a guy that has charges for taking the life, allegedly, of a CEO of a big health company? And they say more people die each day from cancer. Thousands of people are dying, right, at the hands of people like the individual that lost his life. So the younger generation do not think like the older. And I think sometimes that's the missing gap that we have. We're not understanding that the world is changing, and it's changing dramatically. All right. So at any rate, Blue Crab says, okay, fight for our rights, fight for democracy. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Nathan says, ice, ice, baby. Okay. He's a supporter of ICE. Tracy says, yeah, sure. We voted for President Trump. Okay, we have a Trump supporter here. A lot of Trump supporters. NWB says, better a president who deports illegal immigrants than one who censors his own citizens. Okay, good point. Tracy says, President Trump is for law and order. Okay, let's finish this up.
You're gonna be outed and fucking put on the fucking faces of New York. Get the fuck out of New York.
So guys, you can hit the like button, share, subscribe. You could tune back in today. I'll be boots on the ground to see what's really happening and show you how it really goes down in New York City.
You fucking bootleggers, pieces of shit! Get the fuck out of our city! Get the fuck out of here! Must you mad? Do you have someone we can contact? Whoever he respects you or anything you're doing, let him go. He's our neighbor. Do you have anyone we can contact for you? Why are you laughing? Nobody wants you in fucking New York.
Like I've said before, please back up a little bit. Give us some room to breathe. You can record all you want.
All right, so they're calling ICE Nazis. I heard a lot of that on Saturday at the No Kings rally as well. And I will tell you, the way it typically happens is with the rallies. In fact, they announced that there's a new protest. It's going to be November the 8th, I believe, in Washington, D.C. So when you go to the protest, they often tell you it's very organized. So I will tell you, there's a big machine behind it, right? And they pass out the flyers. In fact, I have it to show you. Come back or come down to Washington, D.C. You have a lot of elderly people. It seemed like they move along with the mission. You'll see similar faces at different protests, right? So that's happening. So we'll have to see how this thing develops as Donald Trump is trying to really turn these protests into something more sinister, as though the people are looking to harm America instead of speak up for their rights. What do you guys think? You think it's right to protest, right? It seems that when one side has the office, the other side is always condemned as being Nazis or whatever they want to call it, right? So what do you think? What's the problem here? How do we come together as a nation? Is it even possible? Patrick is back, says, where can I get an ICE job application? Patrick wants to be a part of the mission, right? Patrick, if you become an agent, would you be body slamming people on the ground? Tell us what you think. All right, Kevin says free ICE. Okay. LGG says the beginning of the end, history repeating itself. I feel so bad for the younger generation coming up. Who knows what they'll see in time. Blue Crab says Trump corrupt cheater father taught him all he knew. LOL, corrupt and hateful. That's Trump. Okay. Sonic Lover says there is a pathway for citizenship. They are needing amnesty and safety. Okay. So many are saying free ICE. Okay, so let's just finish this up.
Why are you nasty? If you're proud of your work, I'm gonna back up for you. See who you are.
You see here, these are regular people, folks. And like I said, primarily women, probably seeing what's happening, and they're just putting up a fight. It takes a lot to speak out. People don't want to speak out in most cases, right? It takes a lot for that. A lot of people are worried about their job. You see what's happening if you express something against Charlie Kirk on social media. JD Vance says, hey, call his employer, right? What's really going on, right? And people are actually doing that.
You're so proud of your work. Good for you.
Sonic Lover says, I fight for all colors. Okay, hoorah for you. Edward WT says, nothing regular about those buttholes. Okay, all right, thank you. Stacy Johnson says, I feel sorry for any child growing up in a Democratic home. Okay, thank you for your expression. Rock Fan says, crazy people. Okay, International Scout 2 says, every major network was carrying the Epstein victims press conference except Fox News. Why do you think that's the case? Tell us, International, why do you think that's the case? Yesterday, it is of note that Mike Johnson emphasized that Donald Trump had nothing to do with the Epstein files. So this has been a very up and down year. We hear that Trump was not in the Epstein files. Then they come back and said he was in the Epstein files. Then they said there's no Epstein files. Then they said, well, there are files, but the Democrats, they made it up, right? It's a hoax, right? Then we keep going back and forth, but to date, we do not have any Epstein files. Now, we do see what happened, right, out toward Europe when individual lost their stripes, as they would say, right? He lost his stripes because he was associated with the Epstein files. So what does that mean in the United States? Do you guys think that there's anything really going on with the Epstein files? Do you think it's just something that's made up? Or do you think Donald Trump is trying to protect himself, or he's trying to protect others? I've even heard people say he's trying to protect Israel. I've heard people try to say, like Tucker Carlson, that Epstein was a part of the Mossad, and that it's all tied into Israel, and that's where he had all of his money. And then the feds came forth, and they said that Epstein had so many wires going through that it was over $1 billion. And I know for a fact, when I went to Sean Diddy Combs' case, right, and I sat there every day, one thing's for sure, the feds are able to track wires, right? It's not very difficult. In fact, with Sean Diddy Combs, they tracked every little thing he did. And not only that, they went back 20 years and they're pulling up metadata from hotel lobbies. They show you the flight numbers. They can tell you the text messages from so far, such a long time ago. So with Epstein, why is it such a mystery? Why do the American people still ask the same question with no clear answer, right? There's a lot going on here. Apple Towel says, respect Trump. You have to be insane. 50 years. Okay. All right. Daisy says, too much is going on with the Jeffrey Epstein, and I really don't think that the people are ready to really know what they were doing with the children. Oh, my goodness. What a shame. Christian says, CIA was involved with Epstein, while you'll never see the list. Okay. All right. Quick Groth says, it's time to start thinking about our futures. Okay. Very important, right? What's going to happen? What's going on with the children? Can this deal that Donald Trump just made, this peace deal, can it last for eternity? Like he kept using the word, it would be an eternal deal, right? Are we just misleading ourselves with false reasoning to think that you could come up with a deal with two neighbors who hate each other and want complete annihilation for the other, that somehow they're going to make a peaceful deal and put down their swords, right? Or how can you make a deal with Hamas when Israel, who they hate, still has power over them to a certain degree, right? Right? In order to make it neutral, you would have to probably in some way put those two on neutral grounds and have an outsider kind of balance it, kind of like what they do in court with the judges, right? So it's just a nightmare. But the problem is, in New York City, it's already congested walking down the street. We're dealing with so much. Also, you have to worry about crime, right? And now you have the whole element of people actually fighting back against ICE, and Homeland Security is there trying to get a handle on all of these fake bags and everything else. So there's just so much going on. Blue Crab says Trump has been a crook since 1970. Why 1970? Tell us the answer for that. Okay. Crazy K13 says God bless. And I can't see the chat. Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you for that. Let's see. Okay. Quick Groff says, what happened with Texas? Why aren't their own country? Okay. All right. Thank you, Emarf. Good morning to you too. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. We have so many comments. Deborah says, I feel as adult women now, something is bound to happen. Something is about to happen. And a lot of people are just trying to survive, you know, and they're not able to really pick their heads up and really see what's happening. And because of that, they're not understanding like Project 2025 and things of that sort. So we really have to be very hopeful here that things can go better, but it does not look like we have any guarantees of that. Deborah says the victims are real enough. Okay, yes, indeed. And we hate to see that we have these victims that are not getting any answers to their cries. Okay, Diana Ross says, we never know till Trump's been unalive for 50 years. Okay. All right. Only Jesus says, or only Jesus, depending on how you look at it, I guess. It says, at what point people realize there's no red, no blue, just one government. Right. Right. Both wings sit on the same bird, right? All right, very good. All right, guys, so that's it for this morning. Thank you guys for tuning in. We have an idea of what's happening in New York and why it's happening. Today, I will be boots on the ground if this thing kicks off. I do not know if they'll continue now that the cat is out the bag, right? Now that they're expecting ICE to be in the street or Homeland Security. Will there be things happening today? Well, we'll find out. Thank you guys that took the time to hit the like button, took the time to share, and took the time to subscribe to the channel. We keep bringing you the hot topics. And in a world where media is controlled or we don't even know what we're getting, we try to bring you independent news that is not too biased, right? We try to, as individuals who also live in this country, we try to express ourselves and have a meeting of the minds. Even all Democrats do not agree with each other. It's kind of like with Christians in the Bible, right? Everybody read the same Bible, and you have this Christian umbrella, but do not have the same beliefs, right? So when it comes to life in general in the United States, we don't, red or blue, not all are going to agree, right? All the red don't agree with the red. I think at the end of the day, our lives are touched by what we saw and what we experienced, right? So no two people are the same, not even in the same family, right? We saw that the case with the guy who shot and unalived, allegedly, Charlie Kirk. His parents were Republicans. He was raised in a Republican home. And then they said he switched up and became something different, right in the same home. So we're all entitled to our own beliefs, right? But I think the key is we have to work toward unity, which is very hard, especially when you see in your own streets here in New York City, people are fighting themselves. We have the crime element. You have ICE slamming people into the ground. I mean, that's not a great introduction, but such is life, folks. Thank you for tuning in to Watching the World 777, independent news where justice meets reporting, all right? So thank you very much. We'll be in tune throughout the day, bringing you a up and close view of what's happening in New York City with ICE and also with everything else that's happening out in the streets in real time. Thank you.
Different voices, but the same song. Building a world where we all belong. Kindness leading the way, breaking the chains. In the symphony of love, the thing remains. Embracing diversity, brighter days in sight. Watching the world sharing love and light. Hearts beating as one in our peaceful flight. Colors of harmony, painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might. Harmony, painting the night. United we stand in love's pure might.